Oh, hey! Welcome back to Unstable Creatures Podcast with me, Selena. On today's episode, we have a amazing guest. She's from the land down under. I met her like a week ago here in Melbourne. A seasoned comic, absolutely hilarious. I am so glad we got to meet. She's a teacher back in Australia. She is going to school for psychotherapy. We talk about mental health, comedy, being a woman, Gatorland. We talk about a bunch. This episode's crazy, wild, and I couldn't be more grateful for meeting her. This is Thalia, Joan.
I got chicken, ducks, and roosters on the farm. I'm just beating back with Susan the alarm. Johnny ate the grass, he's mooing on a bong. Gypsy blisters never sing for long. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong.
I'm happy to throw someone under the bus.
No, me too. I love throwing people under the bus. I'm the type of person that will full-blown throw someone under the bus. I mean, absolutely.
I'll be with you driving it.
Yeah, like I will tell on somebody, I'll snitch. I really don't care. I don't care what other people think about me. I'm here for the long haul, and the long haul is throwing someone under the bus.
Snitching?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a snitch.
The saying used to be snitches get stitches. Now
Yeah.
it's actually snitches will live a very long, healthy life.
A very long, successful, healthy life.
I sleep well at night.
One thing about it, I will talk shit. I will say something. I will get something off my chest. If I have a bone to pick with you, it will be said. Like, I'm really...
And we're live.
Yeah. And here we are.
The reason I have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, actually, so we can talk shit and air it out, honestly. No, literally, I felt like whenever I met you at Pineapples a week ago, I was like, I am obsessed with her. Like, as soon as I saw you, I was like, no, I know I'm gonna love her.
My mum's like, you need to stop coming on so strong to everyone.
No, always.
I'll be like, this is my best friend. I was like, how do you meet? I'm like, oh, in the toilet 10 minutes ago.
Literally me.
But you said energy. I'm exactly the same.
At this point, I would take a bullet for you, and you could care less about me. So I'm literally
at all.
I'm literally that person. Like, you're gonna go to Australia, and then I'm gonna like once a week think about you and be like, oh my god, I wonder if she remembers me.
Once a week?
Literally
That's not
once
enough.
a week. Not a week. Yeah, that's true. That's not enough.
Okay.
At least once a day.
How do you feel about voice notes?
I love voice notes.
Okay, great, because that's what we're going to do.
100%. One thing
like
about me,
weekly.
yes, I'll film a video. Like, I'll full-blown record a podcast just for you. Like, to just send you only, private upload to YouTube, and you can get updates, and then I need updates.
Only friends.
Only friends. Yes. Where we just air it out our grievances. Like, literally, I swear, I'm exactly the same way. Like, I feel like I need to be in people's life. I want to know everything that you're doing.
I'm really needy.
Yes.
As well. Really needy with friendships, not
Me
with
too.
relationships. Because friendships are forever.
Oh, see, my relationships are worse for me.
You're more needy in a relationship.
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm like cold shoulder, and someone's like, "What? Why did you ignore me in the street? We live together." And I'm like, obsessed. You're obsessed with me? It's a lot.
You're literally infatuated with everything I'm doing.
I was inside you this morning. I'm like, that's what I mean. That energy, it's a lot.
Yeah, not everybody else needs to know that. One thing about it, that's just between me and you.
Don't make eye contact with me in the street.
Yeah, no, seriously. I feel like it kind of depends. Like, I'm the type of person that if someone does me wrong, they're dead to me for life.
What's your star sign?
I'm a Libra.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not usually like that.
Not usually like that,
Okay.
but my moon is a Scorpio.
I'm Scorpio.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's very much like I give people a super long rope. I'll give you a million chances, but once you're at the end of that rope, it's really done, actually.
Yeah.
Like, you were never born.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've blocked out your existence, honestly.
Not mine though.
No, never yours. No.
Okay.
Only people that like do me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if they do something that's like way over and I've already forgiven them so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could have been rolled over dead in a car, and I'm not stopping.
You're like, oh, what was that?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I hope that didn't dent my car.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. And so you're a Scorpio?
Scorpio, yeah.
That's
With
interesting.
Cancer and Capricorn.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
stubborn, emotional, spicy.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I feel like Capricorns are very distant too. They're very like in romantic relationships. I feel that way. They're very, very distant.
This is now a therapy session.
Are you a therapist?
Yeah.
You are a therapist.
I'm a year off becoming a psychotherapist.
A psychotherapist. So in Australia, what exactly does that mean? Like, what can you do with that degree?
So psychotherapy, so you've got psychiatry, which is the equivalent of being a doctor, which means you can prescribe pills, and it's actually longer than a doctor because you have to specialize.
Okay.
Psychology is big on diagnosing, so it's like you've got depression, you've got anxiety, you've got this. Psychotherapy is like, let's remove all the labels and let's just talk about what you've got to work with and let's work with it.
Okay.
So instead of being like, oh, okay, so you're like distance in relationships because your father wasn't around. Instead, that's psychology. Psychotherapy is like, okay, so that's happened. Like, this is what you've got. How are we going to maximize? So, like, the psychologist will be driving the car. The psychotherapist will be the passenger.
Okay. I see. So, like, psychotherapy is more so, like, to me, because I've been in psychology world because I'm crazy, I've seen a lot of different therapists and had different techniques. So psychotherapy sounds like a specific kind of technique that removes like the medical labels. You've
got like, it's a lot of like making someone feel seen, making someone feel heard. There's a lot of different modalities. So you've got like cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like intercepting thoughts. So it's like, you know, so let's say you come to me hypothetically and you're like, oh, I just feel like I am really down on myself. I'm struggling to like get out of bed in the morning. I'm feeling hopeless, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, what's the thought? Like, what's the sentence? Like, oh, it's not going to work out for me. Why am I going to bother? I'd be like, great, let's now counteract that with the opposite. It's like, what if I just got up? Like, it's kind of giving yourself the power. Again.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really doing internal work with the person. It's not so much like, okay, well, you need this medicine and you have to do X, Y, Z to get to the goal. It's more so like, what's the internal work that needs to be done?
My favorite thing that like I often do with like clients, because you get like test subjects and stuff like that, is called Gestalt therapy, which is like you put your problem in a chair. It's crazy, but like I like drama and improv and stuff like that. So I'm always
maybe this is what I need to be doing because I'm psycho.
So like, let's say you've got anger issues, hypothetically. I'd be like, okay,
not hypothetical. And she's reading the room.
I'm just going to go with just a random...
Shit, I saw that hole in your bedroom wall and I clocked it. One thing about it.
So did the apartment come with the fist bump?
Yeah, 100%.
Textured brick.
Yeah, it looks like you put paste over your bedroom door. No, literally.
Is this blood?
Yes.
Who are all these men's faces?
Is there a leg hanging out of your closet?
Before we start the podcast, a bit of dart.
I literally have a darting right there.
I know. It's pink though, so it's less offensive.
It's less offensive. I got it because I'm like, maybe they won't think I'm that crazy if it like has butterflies on it. But
who's they?
Yeah, exactly. Who's they?
Are they here with us now?
Yes. They're actually right here.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having me.
That's cool though. So you do more of like physical representations of people overcoming something?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's so many different things. But Gestalt therapy is like you put the thing in so I'd be like, okay, put your anger in this chair right now, talk to the anger. And then you kind of like get the person really like externalizing. Because when you say something out loud, it sounds a lot less serious than it does in your head.
Right,
So if you like had this crazy looping thought like, I've got like uneven hair follicles, like something like crazy. And then you say it out loud, I'd be like, do you think that's true? And you're like, okay, now that I said it out loud, like maybe it's not. So you kind of...
Or now that you're like telling another human being that you feel like is more sane than you, you're like, well.
But it's not, it's like, as a psychotherapist, you're never like, I'm better than you. It's always like you meet people at the exact same place that they're in.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to like, a psychologist, for example, will have to be like very behind the clipboard and whereas a psychotherapist can be like, you know, I've been through that. Like, it's a bit more human. It's a bit more spiritual. It's a bit more
interesting. I feel like
you never diagnose.
Yeah, I feel like I've never been through that. Like that sort of realm of things. And that's not really super common in America, honestly. It's very like doctor's orders, psychiatrists, and therapists. And there's a big difference between the two. Because I started going to therapy whenever I was like 15 or 16. My parents like put me in therapy, and it's just like an old lady that's like talking to you, trying to looking at you and like trying to reason with you, but she's like 75 and I'm 15 with that. I'm like depressed and I want to kill myself at 15. Like, we're not gonna relate, you know what I mean? Like, you used to use baby oil as sunscreen. We're not connected. You still smoke cigarettes. Like, we're not here.
And can I have one?
Yeah, exactly. You've been through 2 divorces. What do you know? You know what I mean? Like, it's very, that whole thing. But then as I got a little bit older, I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. I got diagnosed with both whenever I was like 21. And yeah, it's very like, you're a specimen and like we need to figure out what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? How to fix the problem instead of like teaching you to live how you are, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Because it's like
working with what you've got.
Yeah, working with what I've got, because there's nothing that's going to fix the problem. Like, there will be things that can help me tone it down. It's not a problem. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, tell that to my Russ records. But I think that it's definitely like, it's interesting the way that America views mental health. Do you feel like you learned about that a lot? Like Australia's way of doing things versus like America's or other countries?
We go by something called the DSM, which is released like every, I think,
America's the same way.
Yeah, we use the same one.
Gotcha.
So there was like a big audit because the last, I don't want to like get in trouble, but the last people that released it was an American organization, which then ended up being a pharmaceutical company. So it was like,
I feel like I heard about that. Yeah. I feel like, and so they released a second edition or a new one, basically.
Which every doctor, every therapist, everyone has to buy. It's like $150 a copy, so it's $1 billion thing.
Gotcha.
And all these people that were diagnosed with bipolar, with schizophrenia, all of a sudden were re-diagnosed as having like borderline personality disorder.
Yes, yeah.
Totally different coping mechanisms, totally different mentality. So all these people who've been living like the last 10 years are like, yeah, I'm schizophrenic, I guess.
Yeah. And they're
now
not.
Like, no, you've got borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And borderline, like, I did my paper in it, and it's like you have to re-nurture someone, and like, it's someone who didn't have the right like kind of skills growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like you have to re-nurture, so you kind of like parent them a little bit, and you give them the skills back up, and you just rebuild them a little bit rather than like, this is what's wrong with you. Like, I hate that. There's nothing wrong with anyone. Yeah. We all just have a crazy bag of colored crayons, and we just need to like,
I think we're all just a product of what's happened to us. And so it's not like, most of the bad things that happen to people that are traumatized, they're children. You know what I mean? They didn't choose that life. This is just, you are now an adult, and this is the cards you've been dealt, fair or not fair. But we have to do the work as human beings to really nurture ourselves and fix the problem, or what we feel like is going to make us a better person. You know what I mean? 100%. And I think that's the hardest part too, because America's not that way. America's everything's about medication. Everything's about medication and money. That's
the irony, I walked in here, I was like, do you have a pill?
Yeah. You called them headache tablets. So that was funny. Because I was like, headache tablets? She means like Advil, gotta be. You know what I mean? Like, you said headache tablets, and I'm like, that's so funny.
Everything I say, people like kind of take a second to grasp. Like, I went to TJ Maxx to buy a swimming costume. So I was like, do you guys sell swimming costumes? And this one was like a bathing suit. And I was like, swimming costume, like a bathing suit. She's like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
But I was like, what else? Oh, today talking about like running riding, which is you guys call cursive.
Running writing?
Running writing.
But is cursive.
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, the things that you're calling it, though, make so much more sense to me than, like, what we call it. You know what I mean? Like, running writing sounds right. And, like, no one does that shit. You know what I mean? Like, no one writes in cursive.
But my favorite thing about being from another country, is I can literally say whatever. And people are like, that's amazing.
That's so cool. Like, you could literally call shoes, like, asshole. And they'll be like, oh, love that.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially people here, because I feel like people here are so stupid.
I feel like I must be as well, because I've been vibing.
You're literally chilling. You love it.
But I will say this. So I'm a teacher back home.
Right.
And I teach at the moment in like inclusive education, which is autistic.
Okay.
So I teach autistic boys. And on my second or third last day before I came here, one of the boys came up to me. He's new. He's just come out of this like very hardcore school.
Yeah.
And he was like, so this like whole department is like for autism. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, we don't get like hung up on the labels. And he's like, is that how you got the job? And I was like, what? And he's like, do you have to be autistic to work here? And I was like, no, like, I'm just a teacher. And then I realized now when I got hired, they were like, yeah, it's been a while since we had someone who really understood the boys.
Oh, like, can even communicate with them? You're like, you guys are literally signing to each other and like making noise. That's hilarious. And you're like having a full-blown conversation. You guys are locked in. Yeah, you guys are like you know exactly what he's saying. Like,
I don't have autism.
Yeah.
But I did get into like a pretty lengthy conversation with Preston about Alexander Crocodile.
You know, I say this joke all the time and people are literally gonna laugh, but I'm like so convinced my boyfriend has autism. I'm so convinced of it.
It's a bit of a thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Like we're obsessed with labels.
Yeah, we're obsessed with autism.
Autism, ADHD,
yeah.
All my friends are like, oh, my ADHD is so bad this month. I'm like, you just actually haven't paid your rent.
No. You've actually been drinking wine instead of water for the last 7 days. I think that's what that is.
You just came in for a 4-day bender. Like,
yeah, 100%.
My girlfriend went on a 3-day like party session to a festival this in Australia.
Okay.
Came back, her boyfriend doesn't party at all. And she's like,
I'm anxious.
he calls me and goes, can you believe she came home and said that she's got sun poisoning? Oh. She was in the sun too long? Like, it's not everything else she's been doing the last 3 days. She's like, yeah, I was in the sun for too long.
It wasn't the Molly and acid that you did from the back street. Like,
but people will always justify like shitty behaviors to their star sign.
Yeah.
Oh, you have avoidance issues in relationship because you're a Capricorn. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the mother that never hugged me growing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fact that I never saw my dad since I was 7 years old or anything. But no, I feel like people are definitely like that. I try to not be that way, especially about like bipolar and BPD, because I feel like it definitely is an explanation for the reason why I think the way that I do and why I behave that way, but I know that it's exasperated because of outside circumstances. You know what I mean? Besides like being stressed out or being nervous or work or whatever. So I really try to like step back and make sure that I'm being realistic, but then other times I'm like, no, it's literally because I'm a Libra. Like, don't. You know, like, please.
I am such a Scorpio. Like, honestly, I'll sit here and shit on star signs, but I am...
Yeah. Like, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, and that's like all I share on my Instagram story.
Yeah.
Well. But it's really interesting about the whole, like, personality disorder area too, because I think in a world where there's so much outside noise, like social media, doctors, like, we kind of forget we have an internal compass. Yes. And it's so hard to stick to it because, like, I've been in a lot of situations where I'm like, my gut's like, don't do this. But then 15 people are like, no, it's fine. Yeah. And then it doesn't end up being like that. Yeah. So a bit of a, like, interesting backstory. I met my dad for the first time when I was 24.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So my mum was like, he's dead. And then, and then I got a message on Facebook and I was like, Mum, my dad has messaged me on Facebook. I thought he was dead. She's like, dead to me, get over it. Like, I thought you were a comedian, don't take things so seriously.
Oh my god, the gaslighting's crazy. The gaslighting is crazy.
Shout out, Mom.
Yeah, we love her.
Everyone's like, how'd you get into comedy? I'm like, trauma.
Yeah, literally. Like, so your dad just like randomly reached out to you on Facebook and said like, hey, I'm your dad. I'm not dead. Yeah. I'm back from the dead, actually. Yeah. Were you scared?
He hath risen.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I'm like, my dad's Jesus? No.
Yo, literally. Because especially if you spent like an adult too thinking that your dad was literally like not existent.
I never thought about it, you know? You can't miss something you never had.
That's true.
Do you know, it's like you finding out like you had a brother now. You'd be like, okay. Like,
yeah.
As an adult too, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to foster a new relationship with
That's true. Especially your dad. It's
he's
like,
awesome. We get along really well. Like, we're really similar. But all of a sudden, he's got like heaps of other kids. Like a whole
Was he a sperm donor?
Sure. But more like active in the process.
Yeah, black market. Yeah, got it.
Like, he's like going out there doing the field work.
Okay.
I hope he never listens to this. And then, so, but with his side of the family and all that, like all this personality disorder stuff is there. Because, you know, I guess the most like interesting thing about finding a parent later in life is the health stuff.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
He's in his 80s. He's still like running, doing push-ups, pull-ups.
Love.
He's got cancer, but they're studying him at the moment because like he's got this really, really aggressive cancer and it's like not spreading.
And he's just like fine.
Yeah. So they're like studying him like he's like some prodigy and he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah.
He's like, I am a god. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm definitely not adopted.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I know, literally me. Yeah.
So when I first met him, I took my friend down who's a vet.
Okay.
So she like studies animals and I was like, come down, study us and also make sure he's not like a murderer.
Yeah.
So she came and she was like the whole time like just watching, taking notes. She was like, it is crazy you guys haven't grown up like,
and you're so similar.
Exactly the same. We walk the same, we talk the same. We're both like hungry for attention, needy, creative. But yeah, all this person, and I've got personality stuff on my mum's side too. So I'm just like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
I'm just like waiting. I'm like,
one day I'm gonna see you like scratching at the surface in a 7-Eleven gas station. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. Can I get a chai latte, please? Thank you. Literally. Oh, you're gonna be on Soft White Underbelly next. You're gonna be on that podcast.
I'm like, remember me? You didn't reply to my voice note. It's like 3 minutes of me like,
oh my god, that's so crazy though. How like mental things and like health is so genetic, and people don't. I know like for a long time, whenever I was like first going to doctors and stuff and trying to figure out what the hell was going on with me at 15 years old. You know, and it's so crazy because like I'm like 16, 17 and they're telling me I have ADHD, and then they say I have OCD, and then I have PTSD, and then I have, you know, I have insomnia. Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how can I have all of these things at once?
And is your family also receptive to that stuff? And was there like open conversations in your house? Like in my household, there was no such thing as depression or anxiety. It was like, you're hungry or you need a nap.
Yeah.
So you're going through all this stuff. And do you now have like a supportive network at home who's like, let's talk about it, let us help you? Or do you have like, you know, a family who's like, get over it?
Yeah, 100%. I think whenever I was younger, it definitely was like, don't really talk about it, and my parents didn't quite understand. They had me at a really young age. I'm the firstborn, so it was a very uncharted thing, right? And like my parents did a lot for me. They made a lot of sacrifices for me, and you know, we had an okay childhood as far as like money and you know, things. It was dysfunctional at times, but nothing like
you didn't miss out
insane. You know what I mean? We struggled financially and didn't grow up in the best parts of town, but nothing crazy. And so once I got to be in middle school, and my parents were actually foster parents for other kids.
Wow.
So at a time whenever I needed like their most attention, I didn't get it because they were so like for the community and doing things for other children that are way worse off than me, you know? So like at that age, you don't understand what they're doing yet. You're just like, I need attention, me, you know?
100%.
So we never really talked about mental health or anxiety or those things. My parents really didn't understand it. It was just more so like, she needs to go to a therapist and let the professionals handle it because we don't know what's going on.
Oh my gosh.
And then, you know, so I kind of navigated that alone for a while. It was ups and downs for it. And then whenever I got to be like 20, 21, my dad went through a revolutionary period in his life where he lost a lot of weight, got really healthy, started going to a therapist and stuff, and we went to a therapist together. So that shifted. Yeah, it shifted everything. It changed everything for me because you start to learn that your parents are humans. Like they feel exactly the way that I feel, you know, as a 26-year-old. Plus they had 3 kids, you know, and they're like broke, cars getting repoed. Like my dad's struggling to make ends meet. My mom's working while pregnant, like, and they're just trying so hard to survive. And so, you know, my dad grew up in a dysfunctional home. My mom grew up with a lot of trauma and dysfunction, way worse off than me, both of them. And, you know, I finally started to realize, damn, my parents are like just regular human beings. They're not like...
But that comes later.
Yeah, of course it comes later.
When you're an adult and you see... And it's always like, oh, when you have kids, you'll understand. And like, you kind of have this moment where you wake up one day and you're like, oh, you're just a person. You're not this like prodigy pedestal. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I feel really guilty for being a little bit of a shit.
Right, yeah, 100%.
I was so ungrateful. I was so shitty. You worked so hard. Oh my God. And then you kind of like bring yourself back up and then you're like a woman in her 30s.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, I'm like over here running away, lying to my parents, like texting boys, sneaking out, all this crazy stuff when they are just like, you know, got home from a long day at work. They're exhausted. Their mom just passed away, like all these things. And I'm just like, F you, you know? I mean, it's terrible. It's horrible.
I have this thing all the time where I'm like, have these flashbacks of being a teenage girl and just like my mum being like, you're the worst, you know, like all this nasty shit. And it's like a big reason why I'm terrified to have a kid because I just don't want someone to not like me in my house. And then like going out with like a bitchy friend and then like she's like, You like looking like not great today. Kind of like a loser like this. Oh, and also pay for my lunch. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
like, it's a sham.
Especially like young girls, because it's like, you know how it is. You know what I mean? Like, you go through this whole like phase where everything just is. You're a horrible human being. I mean, you're a menace. Like,
every time I tell people I like work in an all boys high school, they're like, oh my god, that's crazy. And I'm like, no, girls high schools are crazier, because women, we're vindictive. We hold on to things for years, waiting for the perfect moment. Like, I have this for legal reasons, let's say a friend, but it's like someone that is related to me.
Oh, okay, love.
Who like slowly was putting sugar in her husband's food because he had really bad cholesterol, and she's like, I'm fucking done with this guy. Slowly. I'm like,
he goes into a diabetic coma.
Literally, that's women.
Love it.
Whereas men, they're just like, yeah, I punched him. No, we're sweet now. We're sweet.
Yeah, or he's like, I'll just go buy a prostitute if I'm sick of my wife. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just, hey, they're funding the economy. You know what I mean?
I have this joke where it's like, so part of my degree, we had to like look at the brain.
Okay.
There's this.
Was it like an actual physical brain?
No.
Oh, like you just have to look at like parts of it.
Like studies of like gender's like now a loose
Isn't
construct.
it crazy still, even like, I'll let you finish, but isn't it so crazy the time that we're in and the technology we have, how much we still don't know about the brain? Isn't that nuts to think about? And we have this thing in our head and we all have it, and there's so much about it that we don't know.
Totally. And that's why you have to take things with like a grain of salt, because like this year it's going to be like brain gut connection, and then next year's gonna be like, that was all we were wrong.
It's actually your eyesight. Yeah 100%.
Like, so every time someone's like shoving something down your throat, you know, it's like they say, always get like a second opinion, which again, like, I'm speaking from like a privileged place, because we have free healthcare in Australia.
You
know,
like, that was like another thing I wanted to get into, because it's
I want to talk about it tonight at the gig, but I'm like nervous too, because I don't want to sound like I mean, I have like a way to say, you know, like, we kind of abuse it, because like, if I'm like lonely, I'll just go to the doctor and hang out, get another pap smear, like
100%. And then here, that's like, that'll be $567 because you don't have insurance.
You know?
It is. It's absolutely nuts. Like, I turned 26 in September.
Okay.
So I got off of my.
How old you are.
Yeah. I turned 26 this past September, and when you turn 26, that's the most common age where you get off of your parents' health insurance. So now you have to get on your own. So if you're not married, or you're not like a dependent for anybody, you're just a normal 26-year-old, you just don't have healthcare anymore. And it's
expensive.
And it's expensive to get. It depends, because you can make a certain amount of money and get healthcare for super cheap or free, like Medicare, Medicaid, right? Yeah. But the line for the money that you need to make is so thin.
So then it's like, I need to make less money to be looked after.
Correct. And then if you make more money, which is still not shit, you don't get all the other benefits, but you're still struggling, because now I have to pay for everything out of pocket, and I'm still like, I'm barely making it.
And you
know
won't
what I mean?
need anything until you like don't pay for it, and then you're gonna need it all.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I don't have health insurance right now, and most jobs don't offer health insurance. Like, it's very rare that you find a job that offers health, vision, and dental. You know, it's one of those things.
You can pick one.
Yeah, you can pick one. Which
what do you
one's
want, your
the
teeth
worst?
or your eyes?
Yeah, exactly. Teeth, brain, or eyes, choose. And so it's just, I'm kind of like, I was seeing a therapist and doing my thing, and I haven't been on medications in years, and I want to keep it that way. I want to do the no medicine route.
Snaps.
And you kind of do like exactly what you're saying, but in, I guess, our own way here, find someone that is a psycho. Yeah, just a psycho. 100%.
Putting the psycho back in therapy.
2 peas in a pod. Health insurance is nuts here. It's so wild. And so, of course, our like mental health is completely screwed. You know what I mean? Because our healthcare is screwed. It's sad.
And I think it's like, I can't really comment on it, because I'm like a big believer in not going to a place and making a blanket statement. Like, it's very also like white privilege to be like, oh yeah, I went to like Indonesia and like the kids were so happy, like kicking cans in the street, just giggling. Like, you don't know shit.
No, literally.
About anything.
Yeah.
And like, I just see it everywhere. Like, I think I talked about a little bit in my set last week about how like the white privilege commentary that people make. Like, a woman came up to me after a gig, she's like, can I say something? And I'm like, you're going to say it anyway.
Yeah. It's like when people approach you, like, I don't mean to be offensive here. Or don't take offense to this. And it's like,
when someone comes up to you at a gig, a man, he's like, that joke you did, like it. I'm like, are you about to tell me how it could have been better?
Yes.
You know why you feel like you can approach me right now and why I made it look easy? Because I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks effortless because I fucking work hard. Excuse my language, but because I work hard.
No, literally. That is so true. I feel like men are way more like inclined to just give an unsolicited opinion.
How many times have you had a man say to you, yeah, you know, my friends say I should do comedy? And I'm like, do you know what I say? I'm like, do it. Do it.
I feel like I probably hear that
once a day.
Once a day.
At least.
It has to be. Especially whenever I first started and I was going out with a lot of friends and stuff. And everybody was always telling them, like, you know, just people like, oh, she's a comedian, you know, this and that. And that literally would be always what they say. Or like, oh, are you even funny? Like, tell a joke right now.
Tell a joke right now. Like,
you want me to dance in the street like a monkey? Like, what do I look to you?
Or
like,
another one, like in dating, when someone's like, you want to talk about me on stage? I'm like, babe, this is a really hard way for me to tell you. You're kind of boring.
Yeah.
You're not making it up there. I've got so much of my own shit to go through.
100%.
Than you fucking 30 living at home, building houses for a living.
No, literally. And I feel like they're like, I feel like people are so like, I need to be relevant in your life when you have a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
my time.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I feel like I can tell the story because me and him have already talked about it, but like a prime example of it. Is, so I got on Kill Tony. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I name dropped you today. So I went to this art gallery in Winston Park. No, Wilfred Park. No, Winter Park.
Winter Park. Yeah.
Winston Park. I'm in
Wilfred.
Wilfred Park.
That's Australia, honey. Yeah, in Winter Park. I love Winter Park.
And I went to an art gallery and this woman was like, oh, are you interested in any piece? I was like, no, sorry. Thank you for thinking that I could afford it.
Yeah.
Also, the richest people look the poorest as well.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I was like in there, like, I'm wearing my Gatorland t-shirt.
We love Gatorland. Yeah.
We've got to talk about this.
She's like, hey, do you have $10,000 to spend on this little painting of a little girl?
It was like a full-on proper. I don't even know why I went in there. I just felt the vibe. She was awesome. She was amazing.
Yeah.
So she was like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, like, I'm here doing a bit of comedy at the moment. And then I was like, the dog can't
Poppy. She said,
And she's like, oh, cool. I was like, yeah, I'm doing the show tonight. She's like, oh, have you ever watched Kill Tony? I was like, one of my friends has like been on it. She's like, no way. My best friend the whole way. I kind of like started her career.
yeah. We were actually in this together. Like whenever we go on tour, it's like for each other.
But
you know
she was
what I mean?
like, oh my God. So I gave her my Instagram and yours.
Oh, that's so, we love that. I literally love.
She's like, 100%. I don't want this. I'm like, take it.
Yeah. She's going to be famous one day. Take it. No, literally. I think, but I got on Kill Tony and.
Which I need you to explain to me in the car later.
Yeah, 100%.
But did you did it in Austin?
In Austin, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, and it was on my birthday. It was like on my birthday.
Just now,
this past September. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so we were there for my birthday. My boyfriend took me, like paid for the whole thing, made it happen for me.
We love your boyfriend.
And literally
deep dive stalk.
We love him.
Yeah.
So he took me to Austin and I got on Kill Tony. And like in the show, it's very common for someone to be like, oh yeah, like my boyfriend or my girlfriend does comedy too. They'll bring him out.
Oh.
But so for me, I was like, you know, this is my thing.
Yeah.
This is my thing. This is my time.
Yes.
I have been doing comedy for a bit. He started doing it because of me. He only does it because of me.
Okay.
Like whenever we met and like he wants to do it and all these things, and I encouraged him to, because I'll always encourage somebody to do something that they want to do if you're passionate about it, you know?
As long as it doesn't get too like competitive or anything.
It did in the beginning. It did in the beginning.
Okay.
Because we're exactly the same. So I get on Kill Tony.
It's kind of nice to share, like.
Yeah, 100%. And that is a healthy part of it. If it's healthy, it makes you like be better comedians for each other, and you're constantly like helping each other, and you know, he can help me do this, I can help him do something else.
And Kill Tony's random. Like they just like pick your name out of a hat.
Yes. Yeah.
Are a lot of names in the hat?
Yeah. So like my episode, there was like about 300 people that signed up. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I will say, when you're a girl, you have way higher chances of getting chosen.
Okay.
Way higher.
Okay.
So because there is so many men that sign up, when they see names, this is at least what I think.
Okay, great.
But whenever they see names that are girl names, you just have a higher chance of getting chosen because they want girls on the show, because there isn't as many that sign up. Okay. So you do have a higher chance. So, you know, it does equate to that a little bit. But so so after like, you know, I'm on stage, all this stuff, I'm like psyched out, all this stuff's happening. I leave out the back and I'm like, I can't even process what just happened, right? Because it was like felt so fast, but felt for forever.
And I watched them comment and they were like, you're going places.
Yes,
great job.
Yeah. And it went good. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm freaking out, right?
Yeah.
So I leave the building and his immediate thing was like, oh, like, am I not going to? And I was like, no, like, what do you mean? You know what I mean?
This
and like,
is my thing.
yeah, this is my thing. And don't get me wrong, like, he wasn't meaning it in a mean way at all or like selfish, but it definitely, like, it required a conversation about it because a lot of times, like, men want to dominate things and that's just their personality. It's not bad. It's just their personality. It's how they are. So, you know, we had to have a very clear conversation, like,
Boundaries.
this is my thing. I did this for me. I'm here for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let anybody take that away from me. I don't feel bad. Like, it's me. I did mention, like, they asked if I had a boyfriend or whatever, so of course I talked about you. But you're not gonna come up here and do a set and like this becomes our thing now. This is my thing, you know? Yeah. So it's a perfect example of that and how that can go.
I had something kind of similar happen a few days ago where like, you know, I'm here obviously in Orlando, like I got myself here, all the gigs that I've done, like I've gotten those gigs. I haven't had any help. Like I'm the one who's like sliding into DMs.
Yeah.
I went to this gig, spoke to a guy like.
Where? In Orlando?
Yeah, it was called Dark Comedy.
Oh, Comedy Dark.
Comedy Dark.
Love that. You need to be on that.
I went there.
Were you on it?
No, just to watch.
Okay.
That's kind of what I've been doing.
It's one of the best shows in Orlando, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's some of the stuff I was like, whoa, my asshole is clenched.
Yeah, and it's normally always sold out. So that's why I say it's the best show in Orlando because, or not the best, one of the best, but it's always sold out. And I love doing that room, yeah.
So I went there and I spoke to Vinny.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, want to introduce myself? You know, I've got clips, I've got credentials. Do you think you could point me? Kim Possible?
Yeah, Kim Possible. We love her.
What's the sitch, Wade?
What's the sitch?
Naked Mole Rat. So I like, you know, went to that gig, got a ticket, put myself out there, spoke to the person, got a gig at Milk District.
Oh, love. Okay, perfect. I was just there this past Saturday. Yeah, love.
So I did that, and then from there, all those guys were like, because I went up there, and then the guy who's headlining, who now I forgot his name, went on after me, and he was like, "How's the whitest girl in the room relate to every black person in here the most?"
Yeah,
because I had everyone off their chairs laughing, and then everyone else like was not different, but also I have like an element, like even you said this, like I have an accent. There's like there's a few other things that makes it like more a little bit more intriguing.
Appealing,
because it's like different and people feel like they've done something.
What makes you feel any better? I've not stopped talking about you. I've been telling everybody in Orlando, Eric, like everyone. I'm like, I swear, if you have a show and she's here, please. I mean, she's literally amazing. And they're like, I feel like you're just saying that. I'm like, no, I don't say that about very many people. You guys know that. Especially not about girls. Because I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and like do, you know, I have this whole thing where like, I'm not going to make people feel like they're good just to make them feel better. You know what I mean?
I want authenticity. Be real with me.
Right. And so I was like, no, I'm so serious. She's a killer. Like, so good. And they were like, what? Really? I'm like, yes.
Oh,
and so Eric's actually going to be there tonight. So
he's insane.
Yeah. So he was like, oh, I can't wait to see her. I'm like, literally, you're going to love her.
All I'm going to talk about is Gatorland.
Please. It's funny. Yeah. I've never been to Gatorland.
What?
I need to go.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. I have to finish what I was saying before.
Oh, yeah.
Just so I don't lose my train of thought. This is I'm like, yeah, all these people are like...
ADHD. Oh, man. No, literally, that's me.
It's me as well.
Yeah, and they're like, it's not the four monsters that you had today. You don't think that's anything to do with it? I'm like, no, it's literally ADHD. Oh God.
But yeah, so I like did all this shit, like, you know, got my own gig, like, you know, I've been really lucky, like I've had someone drive me to the gigs, which helps.
But you're like introducing yourself.
Yeah. Then someone dropped a we, and I was like, nah, come with me. And I'm very much like water off a duck's back. Like, doesn't take a lot to rub me the right. Doesn't take a lot to rub me the wrong way. But when you do, Scorpio.
Yeah.
So I heard her like, we got this gig, and I was like, come here right now. I was like, sorry, no. I've been doing this for over 7 years. Everything I've done I've done it. Like, all my solo shows in Sydney, like, I get the venue, I pay the photographer, I pay the videographer, I get the opening acts. I have done all this. I write my own material. I like, don't come in now after knowing you for like 5 minutes, after I've been doing something for 7 years, and say, wait, nah, that shit is not going to fly for me. Like, and that was like a real big thing for me. People will love to take credit the minute you're doing well.
100%. Yes.
And I'm not even doing well. I have 2 jobs. Like, I'm affording everything that I'm doing.
Yeah,
It's like, but people will like see you doing something, be like, I did that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a rapper. Like, I've just dropped an album, like all these people like on my back.
Yeah. That's my girl. Like, I've known her since preschool. Like, we go way back. And you're like, I just met you yesterday. Like, let's chill.
Say my name right.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh my God, your name in the group chat.
They always do that to me. And I can't even tell you how many times I do shows. And like, how do you say your last name again? They ask me like 4 times. And I'm like, listen, just drop it. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, it's fine. And because I would rather someone ask me how to say my name than just like guess 100%, so that way you know how to say it. Totally. But it's also like, it's really not that hard. Like, it's really not that hard. My name's not crazy. Like,
it's also so refreshing to speak to someone who's so like, this is what is going on.
Yeah.
It's you bring life into me.
I literally feel the same way. Like, I feel the same way. As soon as like we left and like I was like telling Jake, and he was like, oh my God, like, why do you feel like you attach to people so fast? I'm like, people like that I attach to fast.
Don't worry. I'm receiving and attaching.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, it's just something like about people that are like her that I just gravitate towards, because I feel like we just get along so easy. And I get along with most people, but not like, you know what I mean?
And that's the most exciting thing. Like, I'm in my 30s, so it's really exciting to like be in this stage of life and still feel like you're making new friends, and like your people are out there.
Absolutely.
Also,
and then I saw you take that crazy lady home, and so then I was like, I definitely love her. I understand her because I was about to.
We didn't take her home.
Wait, what did y'all do? She was like crying.
She was crying. She was crazy. As a woman, I can never leave another woman in distress.
No, I don't care
how crazy you are. The fact I know you're crazy. You're wearing a mini skirt and it's pouring in rain.
Oh yeah, and you're wearing boots from Charlotte Russe. Yeah. Like, you're killing.
She was left behind. She was on a date. The guy left her. Fair enough. She was talking a lot of shit. Yeah, but I would never leave a woman in trouble. It's like I'm traveling by myself. Yeah, you know, I would hope that if I was in need, someone would look after me. So she's outside, she's crying, and she's like, can you please give me a lift? And I'm like, yes. And then the person that I'm with is like, no, this is like Florida. Like, you don't know what. Yeah. You know, this could be a ploy. She could have a gun. She could be taking in Australia.
Which is very true. Like,
So I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'm not from here. Like, I can't act like I know everything. So I'm like, let's get you an Uber. She's like, I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, well, you've got Uber Eats on your phone. So how'd you download that? And she's like, what?
It says you ordered McDonald's for breakfast this morning.
She's like, wait, what are you even saying? I'm like, I'm saying, how did you? And then she starts screaming. I'm like, don't scream at me. I am right here. I'm helping you. I'm like, how did you download Uber Eats?
If food can travel, you can too. Like,
we need to get this McFlurry home.
Yeah, exactly. This Big Mac is ready for bed. Like, you've got to go. That's so funny.
So then I am like stone cold sober, having the most insane conversation with someone.
I saw.
I saw you guys watching. I was trying to connect with you, and you guys were all like in the background, like, nah, we'll watch. Like, I was like hand signaling, like I'm a traffic director. I'm like emergency exits, and you guys are like, nah, we'll just watch you.
Yeah.
So I'm having like the craziest conversation of my life. The person that I'm with is like backing away. He's like, I'm actually just gonna leave, and I'm like, don't leave both of us here. I've got Uber, don't worry, I'll get us both home. So then I download Uber on her phone, and she's like, I have cash. I'm like, babe, you don't need cash. You've got an app. This is safe. And then this like 50-year-old man, actually much older. He's like hobbling, like, you know when like you thought 50 was old, but then you're getting close to 50, so 50's now like fine.
Yeah. You're like, I mean 80.
80. Yeah. And then so he comes out and he's like, aren't you cold in a little skirt? She's like, can you take me home? I'm like, so she gets in the car with him. I don't know where they are now.
No way. So you guys didn't?
We didn't take her. No.
Oh,
I wasn't allowed to.
I didn't see that part. I
wasn't allowed to take the crazy girl home.
I know. No, literally. We wanted to take her home. Like, we love her. No, I feel the same way, because I was like, if she doesn't get a ride by the time we leave, like, I can't leave a woman by herself. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, only if I felt like it was safe, you know what I mean? Because of what, you know, the person you were with was saying too, that's very true. Like, you have to be so careful.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't with my boyfriend and, like, he didn't, you know, wasn't there, like, I would have been more reluctant, and I probably would have just done the Uber thing too, like, off my phone, pick her up.
Also,
like,
have Uber on your phone.
Yeah.
This is obviously not the first time you get
I mean, if you're in a party like this, you know, like,
She was partying too.
I mean, she was crazy. Yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yeah, she was nuts. But, I mean, I'm glad she went with the old man.
And crazy's is, well, we don't know if he's okay. Like,
yeah, I mean, she could be dead for all we know, so.
He could be. I think he'd be more.
Yeah, she pushed him out of the car and took the car. You know?
Like, cardiac arrest from her talking so much shit.
No, seriously. That's crazy.
Because there's a spectrum of crazy as well. Like, I would say we are, like, in this part of it. She was, like, here. Like, if you're crazy, but you can, like, deliver it, like, you can deliver crazy in, like, a nice package.
Yes,
you know, which is, like, comedy. Like, I look at some people, like, that's why I struggle with this, like, label comedian. I'm like, just because you're standing on a stage doesn't make you a comedian. Do you know what I mean? There are some people out there who are, like, because there's levels of comedy, there's levels of crazy, there's levels of everything. But some people, men, have this thing where they get on stage and they're like, I've got a microphone. I'm just going to say the craziest shit because it makes me edgy and it makes me shock factor. And I'm like, it's not cool. It's not educated. Like, I don't want you to tell me what you think about an article you read. I want to know what the fuck keeps you up at night. Like, let us in. Stop talking about Trump and, like, 3 people just said the same thing. Like, do it in a fresh way. Like, I think you were saying something that I can't even remember now, but it was something about politics. And then I think, like, maybe 2 people beforehand had said something with the same tone. It got, not that I'm shitting on people, but it didn't
please shit on people.
Much.
This is a pro shitting on people podcast.
It's not me. I'm so sensitive.
Please don't talk about me, though. Yeah.
Someone's feelings were hurt.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm like, I won't have a kid so that no one in my own house doesn't like me. That's how much I'm afraid of offending someone.
Yeah, that's how much the people pleasing goes. Yeah, absolutely.
Trauma.
Yeah.
And so you said something and then it got, like, a reaction because I was like, because you put your fresh take on it, you put your personality on it, you put your spices and your flavors, whereas like, anyway, that's my thing. I feel like it's oversaturated. There's a lot of people doing it.
I 100% agree. I think it's definitely, like, you know, it's hard for people to be themselves and be vulnerable on stage. I remembered
one funny thing.
What?
The crazy girl that I wanted to take home, she also told me she was a comedian. And I was
She's not.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. She's like, I've never done it. And
so I've never actually been on stage, but, like, I am, you know?
Yeah. And she's like, I haven't, like, written any jokes, but, like, I'm going to. And I'm like, okay, comedian.
She's doing 5 minutes tonight. Actually, that's our surprise for you.
Do you think she's going to come back?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, everyone loved me there last
No,
week.
she thinks that everyone's obsessed with her, yes.
Eric?
And honestly, I think the same thing. Like, I do the exact same thing. I will show up to a place, act an absolute
You're getting
fool.
kicked out. You're like, everyone loves me.
No, literally. I act a complete fool. I'm a menace. I'm not, I walk out on my bill, like, all these things, and then I, in my head, go to sleep and say, that place loves me. They're obsessed.
Why didn't you pay your bill? They wanted to pay.
I literally had 10 people.
Me.
Yeah, 10 people were begging to pay for my drinks.
Yeah,
so
I didn't come here to entertain you for free.
Not at all.
Did you laugh? Dinner's on you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so, yeah, I think that's so true, though, because I feel like I'm not, like, a very experienced comic. I've only been doing comedy for a little bit less than 2 years now.
I don't even think it's a time thing.
Yeah, it's not even really a time thing. You're right. It's more so about, like...
People have been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then someone's been doing it for, like, 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And you may enjoy one person than the other. You know what I mean? I think that's all what it's about.
Too.
It's definitely personal, and I think that it's more so, like... You can do your own jokes and have your own opinion about things, but it's always going to be about the audience having a good time. It doesn't matter, like, any way you cut the pizza, it's still a fucking pizza. It doesn't matter how much you try to do comedy or what you think is good. The audience wants to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's all that you as a comedian should care about. And maybe that's a controversial opinion. I don't know. I just think for me, if I want to headline places and sell out clubs and make money doing this, people have to enjoy watching me.
Totally.
And if people don't enjoy it, you're not going to go anywhere.
Like, it's not even like, that's exactly what I was talking about you know, with what you said compared to other people. Not that I'm comparing, but I don't even really remember what was said, but I remember how it made me feel.
Absolutely.
So leave a place better than how you found it.
Yeah.
You know? So if people leave a comedy show and they're like, I just feel better.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Laughter is such a gift. Like, I'm going to talk about it tonight because, like, I kind of got asked to stop doing something today, Gatorland. I'm like...
You got asked to stop doing something?
I kind of started my own tour, like, just because...
Oh, like you started showing people around?
Well...
You said, so I actually work here.
I got this hat, and then I think I spoke with my accent in a voice note to my best friend.
Yeah, I can see how people thought you worked there, yeah.
And then people just started forming
oh my God, it's Steve Irwin's daughter.
And then people started forming behind me, and I knew in that moment, like, I had a choice to make. Will I let them know that I'm one of them, or will I start a tour, everybody?
You did? And
I was at the Kookabarras station, so I felt like I could talk about it because they're both from my home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took it a little bit too far, and then, like, someone overheard, and they were like, excuse me, like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, no.
You're in the middle of picking up one of the Kookabarras to show everyone, and they're like,
I'm like,
hey, so what are you doing? That's insane.
It wasn't done in like a ma'am stop. It was more in like a what's going on here?
Yeah, like, oh, what's up, my guy?
What's going on here? And I'm like, nothing.
I'm literally having a good time.
I'm like with them.
Yeah, I paid to do this. Yeah. I paid you to be here.
Yeah,
so.
they're with me in a way that I can't explain.
And they were like listening to you? They were like so...
A little bit. Like it started with like someone said something and I was like, oh, no, I was voice noting my friend. And then they were like, oh, where's that accent from? And I was like, well, it's actually where these birds are from. And then I think... And I think the way that it all happened timingly was like, oh, she's here to tell us about the bird.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I started, and I was saying shit that's not even true.
So these actually birds have been around for 500 years. No, they haven't. And you're just literally spreading blatant. That probably pissed them off. They're like, get her out of here.
Yeah, I have no sense of direction. And I started talking about like the wind. I was like, southern westerly winds. They will love that.
And the people were like, wow.
They were like, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, it's to do with breeding mainly.
And the worker at Gatorland that takes the job so seriously overheard you and was like shaking.
So they have name tags, and underneath their name, they'll have a country, and it's the country that they want to go to the most.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
40 of them had Australia.
So you said, I mean, honestly, hire me.
I was like, you're here. Well, I said to like my friend that I was like, I went alone, but my friend picked me up, and I was like, I think I'm going to get a job at Gatorland, and they're like, you will not make any money. And I was like, yeah, but can't put a price on happiness.
You literally can't.
There was a few things
and you would kill. You would kill. You would make a lot of money, actually.
Alrighty then, everybody follow me.
Yeah, and they would be like, oh.
We're going to go see the Crocs now.
Yeah, they'd be obsessed.
Yeah, I was obsessed.
There's one comedian I wish you could meet before you leave. His name's Captain John. And he does...
Is he 7 foot tall? No.
I mean, he's pretty tall. He's an older guy, though. He has, like, glasses. He wears, like, a Crocodile Dundee, like, hat. I mean, he's the whole thing. He is everything but the accent.
Okay.
Like, he's got the whole package, but talks like he's from
Crocs?
Here. Very much into Crocs. So, like, he
There's
does...
Croc people.
Yeah, he does, like, the airboat rides, though. He, like, takes people on those tours. And, he talks about wildlife and, like, the whole nine. Like, he does exactly what you want to do.
I need to even meet him soon. Like,
no,
FaceTime him
we need to pull him up tonight. Like,
where is he?
Here. Where is he? I don't know. He's in the swamp, I think. Yeah. But yeah, he like that's what he does. Like, and he loves it, and he talks about it. Like, we love him.
I was taken to like Disney World, Epcot, all of these places, and I was like,
they suck.
Gatorland was by far my favorite. Yeah. And everyone was like, okay, then why did we fucking take you to all these like expensive, iconic places?
Seriously.
I was like, day one, all I want to do is see gators. I wanted to go on one of those boats. I wanted to throw a fucking raw chicken off the boat and be like,
yeah, 100%. I mean, that's Florida. Disney's disgusting.
Yeah.
I hate Disney. I mean, Disney sucks.
Unless you want to sponsor us.
No, please don't sponsor me.
Cancel the sponsor.
Cancel the sponsor. They will not condone anything that I say. Oh my God, Gatorland would be a killer sponsor. Gatorland, please. If you work for Gatorland, please hit me up in the comments. We actually need merch from you guys.
I'm good for merch.
Yeah.
I've got the merch.
We've got the merch for Gatorland. We would love a gator here live on the pod. No, it's crazy. I was talking to this guy. So like I have a job where I work for like an event company. And there's a guy that lives here in Melbourne. I'm not going to say his name because he might not want the plug, but he lives here in Melbourne, and he has like a wildlife preserve, right? So like he does like this program for wildlife, and it's for cancer research. So like they take tissues from alligators and crocodiles and test them for cancer treatment. Like for humans, yes. But like the alligators are like completely safe. Like they treat them good. They're okay. They put them back. Like they treat animals immaculate.
Wow.
And they take like small pieces of tissue that aren't going to hurt the gator or anything to test for cancer treatments and chemo and like all these things for humans. Isn't that crazy? And then he like takes these animals to like places and like teaches kids about them, and like they're all local wildlife.
Oh my God.
Like they're only in Brevard
many
County.
Amazing men.
So amazing.
That I need to meet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally obsessed with you. Yeah, we're like talking on the phone. I'm like, what are you doing later? Like, I love you. One thing about it,
I love you.
Literally, it's so cool though. I think people are really interesting with the things that they're like passionate about. You know what I mean? Like people can be so creative,
and that is a beautiful segue back into the whole labeling thing, because I think what society is like doing at the moment, which I really disagree with, is taking someone who's really passionate and really into something and labeling it, being like, oh well, that's autism and that's ADHD. It's like, can't we just be really insanely crazy about something? Like, I love reptiles.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I now have like a diagnosis. Yeah, okay, maybe that's one of the questions. But
Do you get obsessed with the reptiles? Is definitely an autistic trait. Yeah, definitely. I think people are quick to do that though, because I think that
makes people feel better.
It makes people feel better, and I think that it helps people make sense of something. You know what I mean? It helps, like it gives it an explanation. Yeah. And I think people want to be a part of like a community or like of something, so they like to jump on the label. So they're like, oh my God, you do that too? You know what I mean?
And I'm shitting on it, but like when I was diagnosed with anxiety, I've got high functioning anxiety, which means like I don't cripple and like this. I do more. Like when I'm anxious, I like do so much that I don't even know that I'm having anxiety. So everyone's like, how do you get so much done in a day? Like my normal day, like I'm up at 5:30. I'm not in bed until midnight. Like I'm doing so much stuff, and everyone's like, you're such a go-getter. I'm like, I actually can't stop, because if I stop, I'll feel, and if I feel, I'll crumble.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
anyway, nice chatting.
Anyways, bye.
The minute so I started having these panic attacks. Back like when I was in high school, when I started to do like my end of school exams, I started having these really bad panic attacks. But I thought they were asthma. Because I was like, I genuinely
you were, like,
can't
hyperventilating.
breathe. Yeah. And like, I think it was maybe like 3 years after that I got diagnosed with anxiety. And I was like, oh, so a lot of people feel like this? And my doctor was like, yeah. She's like, there's pills. I didn't take pills. I took pills for ADHD when I was a bit younger. I didn't like it. Like I don't know why. Like I just felt wrong.
Zombie-ish. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It made me feel like I had something wrong with me. I don't know why. I grew up in a household as well that was like very anti-medication. Like me taking a headache pill tonight is like very
naughty.
I'm feeling crazy. It's kicking in.
Yeah, 100%. I feel the same way. I think that sometimes like we always want to make sense of something or like have a reason to be this way. Yeah. And I got panic attacks too. I just had one the other day, and like it sucks when they come out of absolutely nowhere. Yeah. Like when I'm like thinking about things and like what could be triggering it, like maybe there's this and that.
But it's ruminating for so long.
But it's ruminating for so long, and then I like, while talking to a therapist that isn't like trying to put me on medicine, we're just talking. Yeah. She was like, some people, like something happens to you 2 weeks ago and you are just like go. So then the day that you get to like relax or like, something comes up that reminds you of it, you immediately begin to process it because you haven't. And so she's like, it doesn't mean something's happening like right then. It could have been something days ago, a month ago that you're like finally starting to kind of process happened and like your body can release the stress, That's why
a lot of people are like worried about like going to bed or going home.
Like, that's literally me.
And there's a lot of like head noise and world noise. Like who isn't having panic attacks with like everything at the moment? Yeah.
And between like job and money and like your career and hobbies and the government. Yeah. I mean, that's just absolutely ruining everything. When men exist, how can anybody be calm?
Put that on a t-shirt.
Like how? Yeah, 100%. How can we be at peace or have not have panic attacks when men are just a thing in this world? They're crazy.
Yeah,
they're nuts.
What was I reading the other day about an article of like, what would you do? What would you do if men didn't exist? And it was like women being like, I would walk around at night. I would go for a run at night with my headphones in. Like, you know, I would leave all these things. And then men started to comment on it being like, whoa, I've never thought about that. And I'm like, that's exactly it.
Yeah, of course. You don't really think about it because, and I feel like too, another problem that we have in society is men get really villainized for things that are actually completely normal. Yeah. Like men get villainized because, you know, being like pro mental health, I'm pro mental health on both sides. Like men have a lot of issues, women have a lot of issues, and we have to work together to work it out in general. And I think that men get villainized for things that are very normal. And when it's such a statistic, especially in America, for men to grow up without fathers, it becomes a problem. And we are now seeing the repercussions of 2 to 3 generations of fatherless homes. And so, they're nuts. They're crazy. Like men are going psychotic because they have to keep up with the same standards. They don't get to talk about their feelings like women do. Friends, like men don't process, you know, things the same way. So they don't have anybody.
And if they do, they seem as weak.
Yeah, or gay, you know what I mean? So it's like they can't like confide in each other really. They have to just have a sport or a hobby or something that they get things out, but then you're not talking about anything.
Okay, I'm gonna stop yelling at men now.
Yeah. So it's like I try to be as like understanding as possible because it's just as hard. So
you should be a therapist.
Oh God, that's the worst thing I could possibly be. Oh, that's terrible. I would be like, honestly, have you ever had a chicken Big Mac from McDonald's? Because that solves a lot of problems for me. Like, I'm sleeping just fine.
I'm going to do a prescription for you. 6 burgers.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, just get a thing of the 3 cheese pizza rolls, stick them in an air fryer, eat those with ranch, and go to bed. I mean, you're going to be so happy.
Stop crying about it.
Yeah, stop crying about it. No, I genuinely, mental health is something that I feel like I talk about a lot. I'm very passionate about mental health. I think that it's a huge thing in my family now. My dad is an advocate for suicide awareness. He goes to, you know, meetings and organizations, and he's a part of that whole realm of things. And so mental health is just something that's important. It affects everything and everyone. Animals. I mean, it affects everything on the planet, you know? So it's like, why do we not talk about it that much? You know what I mean?
I've had 3 solo shows, which have all been about therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy Me. Yeah. Which was a like show I did where I did like 10 different types of therapy.
Okay.
And like how it all, like what the results were kind of thing. Yeah, like some were funny, some were real. And then I had the glamour of giving up. Yeah. And then I had one, Here We Go Again.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of scary men. Speaking of how much we hate you guys.
Not all. Hashtag not all men.
Hashtag not all men.
I'm pretty good. I'm all right.
Nice to see you. I like your outfit. What?
This is just what I wear. Like,
please get in the frame and show your jiu-jitsu
outfit. I love your outfit. You even have little gibbets in your crotch. You're cute.
It's very autistic, very cute.
Very on brand for this whole episode.
She's like, what are you, biking?
Where have you been? Fight Club.
Fight Club is, that's crazy. Most people are like surfing or...
Jiu-jitsu? Like, well, I can see jiu-jitsu on the shirt.
See, most people, they're like, that's an anime. Most people have no idea what that is.
No, I'm down.
Yeah, I'll show you.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, we're down with the jiu-jitsu.
Who Craig Jones is?
Who?
Do you know who Craig Jones is?
Craig Jones?
Craig Jones.
Is like, that, what's it called, Jenny Craig's brother?
No, he's a big, scary man that fights.
Australia is actually a huge epicenter for jiu-jitsu. Like, there's a lot there. And one of the most...
This is another thing where I could be like, yeah, I know, and just start talking
I know everything about it.
Yeah. From the country.
I'll actually choke you right now.
I actually have a gold belt.
You know what
I have a gold belt. You just know, Vicky.
Like, I just have like a gold belt.
Yeah.
To everyone else in the world, all Australians are like ecologists, zoologists too. Like, they always ask them about animals. Like, what about the thing?
And they always know, though. That's the thing.
Like, me at Gatorland today.
Yeah. She literally was at Gatorland and like pretended to be a tour guide, and everyone believed her.
I didn't pretend. It just naturally formed around.
Yeah. And she said, and I was
at the Kookabarras and I was wearing this hat, so people just started following me. And
she goes, right this way, Crocky.
Follow me. I was like, I don't know. They just started following me. I was like, follow me, everyone. Stay close.
I would follow you.
Yeah.
What is the accent? I could be blind and I'd be like, where?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. And then the workers were like, hey, so what's going on?
They went 2 hands, no aggressive fingers. What's happening here?
That's hilarious.
And she said, nothing much. What about you?
Yeah.
Ask questions you don't want the answer.
Right. That's so hilarious. I'm excited for the show. We're gonna kill.
What time is it? Do we need to go?
Probably.
Okay.
So typically, whenever we have people, we always say bye like this. Do you know how to do this? This is like typically how we say like bye. Yeah.
Oh God, it's making my fingers look bony and weird.
I guess my fingers are just fat, so they make like a perfect.
No,
exactly.
it's not.
So you just say like bye.
No, wait, that's wrong.
Watermelon goblin size of King Kong. Watermelon goblin size of King Kong. Glasses shattering, million fractions on my face. I can't seem to put them back together in one place. Fractured on my fingers, swollen tongue is out of taste. Cut down all my trees, I'm catching monsters by the lake. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong.